the present administration in Rivers State. It's been one crisis after another. And of course, the courts came in. A lot of people waited in to see whether the crisis will, be brought to a barest minimum or end. But the court, they also gave orders which the president asked the governor to, follow the orders given by the court. And of course, the crisis continued until yesterday when we had it, boom, the president declared state of emergency in Rivers State. And of course, suspended the governor, the deputy, the House of Assembly members, all elected for 6 months. And we are here this morning on Good Morning Anambra show to talk about the Rivers State in crisis, weighing the call for a state of emergency.
And our guests this morning, we have Comrade Uzo Ekemezie, a political analyst and also a barrister. Barrister, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. And we also have Barrister Christopher Arukwe, who is also a barrister and a public affairs analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for making yourself available to talk on this topical national issue. Wow,
very good morning.
Of emergency. How often do we hear about that in our dear beloved country, Nigeria, where the president, wields his veto power and then slams a duly elected governor with this state of emergency and 6 months suspension, not just the governor, but the deputy and then the House of Assembly. Let me begin with Barrister Chris Arukwe. I can't remember the last time we had a thing of this, pending the power, the president exercising his veto power in order to get Rivers State in, to put them in the right direction. To start with, declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State at this point, bearing in mind what transpired between Wike and Fubara, is it actually the best way to go about dealing with the issue?
Well, thank you for bringing me out here to say a word or two. You can know that this happened last night, and against the expectations of most Nigerians. And indeed, what most people thought the broadcast was going to contain additional efforts he was going to make as president of Nigeria to bring the two warring captains to order in such a way that we'll have a level playing ground in Rivers State. But it took everybody by surprise. Not just surprise, the words greater than surprise, that he went all the hog to dissolve elected parliament, dissolve the elected governor and his deputy, and only permitted the existence of the judicial.
Was suspended for 6 months. Initially, as in for the time being.
Well, dissolved and suspended for 6 months going, and only allowed the judiciary to operate under the normal circumstance they could. Many writers have answered to the call because people didn't sleep. Right? Those who write didn't sleep. And they kept commenting and all that and all that. There are things we know already about emergency, declaration of it, and not declaring it well. The most important thing is that does Rivers State, bearing the look of, bearing the media hype, the talk about the bravado and all that, does it really require the extreme measure of killing a fly on the wall with a sledgehammer? Has it come to that? And then if there are no other motivations, has the president exhausted his fatherly powers in terms of a minister serving under you, not being able to call him to order? Have you really exhausted extrajudicial machineries that could have brought semblance of order in Rivers State? but it wasn't the first place. We had unrest, widespread violence and destruction. Anambra is a typical example where mayhem and anarchy took over, and heavens didn't fall, didn't have emergencies and all that, and the rest of it. 2 times in calling, Anambra had challenges. One was the election time where they said the election, IPOB was saying the election wasn't going to hold and all that. And then 3 days with the stuff, some people were saying declare state of emergency if the election is not going to hold, because the incumbent governor may have been deemed to have exhausted his power to stay on and all that. And it was a political kind of chess game. They could have just declared that state of emergency and install their own person and thereafter arrange things the way they want it and all that. But they didn't do all that. Then thereafter, you now have places like Yobe, Gombe, about 3 or 4 states in the north that was ravaged and submerged under extraordinary territorial governance by Boko Haram people. Jonathan declared a state of emergency. What did he do? He followed the law. Emergency is to arm the person who is declaring the emergency. Give him extraordinary constitutional powers to act. Security wise, not destroying democratically elected functionaries and independent organizations or institutions. So we may need to understand the essence of emergency declaration.
All right.
It is not about removal of a governor.
Okay.
The law did not envisage in its 301, 305 sections 3 that the governor will be removed by such way. In section 11, the law has prescribed how you can remove a governor. Yeah. And the law has also prescribed the way you can remove.
Okay, I think you are going to let us know that that way.
I'm giving a summary.
Now, I'm so delighted that we have lawyers in the studio this morning, because even your body has come up to say that this is unlawful. What actually happened was unlawful. Now, I don't know, Barrister. I don't know. Yesterday, it was declared. What was your reaction when you heard it as a lawyer?
Well, thank you very much, for bringing me here for this discussion. Well, I will start to say that yesterday, the bag of corn has fallen, so that the mother hen will rejoice by everyone noticing. It is to amplify what Wike failed to achieve. That is what the president did. Because before now, there have been an echoes since last year how to remove Governor Fubari by impeachment through the State House of Assembly. And various attempts have been failed to do that. Then it resulted for them to go to court, up to Supreme Court, at the issue of the House of Assembly and the 3 arms of government in the River State. Okay, there is cordiality between the executive and the judiciary, but the legislative aspect of it having issue with the executive. You know what I'm trying to say? And who is the masquerade behind the marks? Okay, the former governor of River State has been bent head to make sure that he make River State to be ungovernable by Governor Fubari. Okay, first of all, let us go to the annal history of Nigeria. The first state of emergency that had declared under democratic dispensation was done by the then president of this country, the person of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, in Plateau State, when he removed Governor Joshua Dare. Okay, by state of emergency then. You see, well, Dare did not go to court or whatever. The same Obasanjo also attempted to remove Atiku as the vice president. Atiku now went to court, and now the Supreme Court in 2008, okay, declared an normal judgment that the president has no power whatsoever to remove an elected, vice president. There's some constitutional provision in section 188, okay, how a governor, a president, or whosoever should be removed from the office. Okay,
the vice president was not elected.
And whether it's not elected, it has been elected in incumbent with the president. That's what it is. Okay? It's a government. Okay? It's a president. In absence of the president, the vice president acts. That is it. So now the Supreme Court declared it, okay, that this is a condition whereby the elected officer should be removed. And Obasanjo, this particular removal is null and void. Okay? Now, coming to River State, as scenario, okay? President Tinubu invoking section 305, sub 5, okay, giving him power to declare state of emergency. You see, that power there is not absolute. Because the criteria, fifth ground, okay, listed, is in subsection 2 to 5, in 305, did not occur in River State. Okay, it's just a political struggle, is it, whereby you now use it to declare state of emergency, which means you are suspending, you are removing democratic elected, government, and enthroning, a military government, you see, because somebody has been now announced, given charge to take over the River State. But that particular provision does not give the person that is sole administrator powers to make law. You can only make regulation. And regulation is just only a guiding principle for a matter of time. Okay, it's not a law. Now, coming to River State, you see, does the activities that are happening in River State warrant state of emergency? Is Nigeria in war? Is it a threat of war? Is it any external aggression against Nigeria? Is it any break law of order? And mind you, that Mr. President was taking a lopsided entity by saying that the governor has failed to harness, to bring peace and tranquility in River State because some militants and some groups are threatening they are going to bomb pipeline and all these things. I want to ask Mr. President, the law enforcement agencies in Nigeria, under whose power are they in control of? Is it not the federal? Is it not the president? The governor has no power to control even if the commissioner for police in the state, let alone to control the military. You see, you as a president would have, using your power, okay, to give that particular order that these people that are threatening life and brimstone in River State should be cut there. Not for you to cheat that the governor has not done anything. Now, as my Leonard Gray has said here, in 2013, when President Jonathan went to declare state of emergency in Yobe, Adamawa, and Borno, he did a consultation, and the National Assembly, then led by also a lawyer, Tambuwal is also a lawyer, advised him. You don't have power. The Constitution does not give you power to remove a democratically elected governor. Okay, you can declare state of emergency by bringing that particular situation to a point, and that's why Jonathan followed that particular advice and declared state of emergency. But the governors are still performing their duties. But this man, can you believe that the National Assembly, key officers of the National Assembly, have even met with the president in a closed door meeting? Okay, and they decided what to do before they take action. So coming today, that gave the National Assembly the power, okay, to ratify this particular state of emergency is just a mere child, because I tagged them that they are nothing but a particular Hallelujah boys whose job is to serve the table of his.
Thank you so much.
Is it Hallelujah boys?
Yes. Thank you so much, Barrister. Well, taking from what we have on the dailies this morning when we did the newspaper review, I can take this caption from the Punch newspaper where MBA lawyers say suspensions illegal. Now, talking about the suspensions being illegal by the NBA and then lawyers in the country, who is to call the president to order for erring on this proclamation of state of emergency declaration on Rivers State? Barrister Chris.
There are a lot of ways to declare an action that is wrong by an administrative body by the president of a country, certiorari, certain as a review. You can go to court for a review, for the courts to look at these things, because it's now state, River State against federal government of Nigeria. The matter goes directly to Supreme Court. So it will not waste time. And the matter in the Plateau State actually went to court. And the only thing is that the Supreme Court then declined to comment, to make a ruling, whether, because Obasanjo was a giant then, to make a ruling whether the act of proclamation in Plateau State was actually by itself illegal. Because it was illegal, because it didn't meet the requirement of the law as set down in various sections of the Constitution. And then removing the state governor, removing the people's representatives, that is even a more egregious act. There's no way in the law, in the Constitution, in protection orders and all that kind of laws that support the Constitution, where the governor, the president has powers to change the order of the day. What you need to do is to supplement the powers of the governor, because the governor has ruled in AG against federal government, AG against AG federal. It is the police, it's the federal government that has the balance of power to control the Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner of Police merely attends the Executive Council meetings or the state security matters. He may not well be obliged. He may say that his Oga at Abuja has told him not to be attending. So this matter of insurgency, terrorism, blowing up of pipe, the balance of blame still lies in the heels and shoes of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as constituted by their various enforcement agencies, from Navy to Air Force to paramilitary, and the Army and the police. How would you expect a common governor who does not have power to summon the Commissioner of Police to tell him actions to take and action not to take? And meanwhile, the quarrel, so-called quarrel, is still a quarrel, legal logjam between the State House of Assembly. It is still domiciled in the very High Court of Rivers State. They have reserved judgment, and they wanted to make sure they cut off that judgment by making sure that that court, the High Court that has reserved judgment, they may have been given even today or tomorrow, that they do not pronounce on the legitimacy of the continued stay of the 27 lawmakers who are deemed to have resigned. Because the law is mandatory and clear that these people have resigned, and they are furthered it by affidavit evidence. And affidavit evidence is the best evidence in the evidential law, that when you swear under oath, under your conscience, that you believe verily that this is the way it happened, the law takes that to be the best evidence a human being can give. And then you have supported this, your decamping to APC with an affidavit. What is the court actually looking after again?
All right, from every quarters, a lot of people are condemning the steps taken by the president yesterday, especially the lawyers that are saying that it is illegal. And here you said something, that there are steps you take before you can actually suspend a president or state of emergency. There are processes or procedures. So I think for the benefit of people watching us, let's get to understand those processes or procedures, what actually could happen before a state of emergency could be declared in any state of the nation.
That's what I'm trying to let you know. Constitution is the ground norm. And I have to say time without number here, that we have, two commander. The concern is uncommanding commander. Okay? You see, the two commanders, as we're talking about, is that we have commander-in-chief, okay, of armed forces of the Republic of Nigeria, that is President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Then now we have Supreme Commander. The Supreme Commander is the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended for now. And the Supreme Commander is more powerful than Commander-in-Chief. So, Supreme Commander has provided, Constitution has provided what will happen before you declare state of emergency. It says sixth ground in section 305, okay, sub 3. You see, there had to be a war. Nigeria must be in a war with another country, okay. There must have to be a what you call it, existential threat, okay. Whether it's external or internal against Nigeria, okay. There has to be a break law and order, okay, that are going to make the citizens, okay, to be, what do you call it, not be freely move or whatever, do whatever they're supposed to do, okay. There has to be, what do you call it, national disaster. I get what I'm trying to say now. National disaster, you see, that can make some part of the country, you see, unreachable, and what about these things. You see, these are the grounds, okay, and the governor may call the president to declare state of emergency. But that particular section, okay, you see, does not empower the president, whatever, to remove democratic elected governor. That is important thing. You may declare state of emergency, but you cannot remove the governor. That is where the people that advise the president, I don't know the kind of advisor that he has, okay, are telling him that he should remove the democratic, and they say that he wants to amplify what we need to do. Mind you, that I don't know the kind of marriage between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and me. I'm coming, please. Okay, let me just sum up as Noya has asked me. Okay, this is ground. Is it what is evitable in River State now? The answer is no. Then why do you remove the elected governor? Now, issue of political struggle between the State House of Assembly and the executive arms of the government. Okay, there is a provision in section 11 of the Constitution as amended. Provide the situation. Okay, if there is any crisis between the House of Assembly and the executive arms of government, the National Assembly will take charge of that State House of Assembly. That is constitutional provision.
Now, so, Barrister Ikeme, let me just pause in and ask you this now. With this action of the president declaring state of emergency in River State, is that a threat to democracy that we are practicing?
It's upfront and a trigger threat, dangerous threat to the democracy. Because now, you say executive. Let me just tell you, the symbol of democracy is legislation. That's all. Because in other system of government, you can have executive and have judiciary, but you cannot have legislators. Okay? So once you remove the legislature, then that is an anarchy. Okay, now you went further and also remove the executive, which means, okay, you will remove yourself. The cabinet, your cabinet, the minister, who was who is master behind the mask, okay, the what indebatable leave is behind indebatable leave itself. So what happened in River State is caused by Mike, who saying, even threatened a generation that they will not do anything. Such threat, Mr. President did not see that to caution Mike. Mike even went ahead, okay, and said that 2-0, had given Fubari 2-0. Remaining the other, now today is 3-0. That's why I tell that the bag of corn has fallen. So the mother hen will rejoice. So now, Fubari, okay, has been suspended. I want him, I must have to salute his doggedness. Salute his, what they call sagacity, on this particular estate, okay, for him to fight, is he to stand with the people of River State, because it's a mandate. People say, on your mandate, we stand. Now, on the mandate of people that you are with, what kind of emergency are you declaring? Okay, is it National Assembly cannot resolve issue of sexual harassment? They can able to now tell Mr. President, please, this thing is not going to work. Today they had 2 days.
All right. From what the answer you gave,
yes,
that you can declare a state of emergency in any state, but it is unlawful to remove the governor or to suspend an democratically elected governor.
Yes.
Now, what does this say? I think, Chris, you have to come in at this point. What does this say about the nation Nigeria? Chris Arukwe.
Thank you. The essence of what we are all doing is for continuity, creating of precedents, because man is governed by laws, and the more laws we have, more laws we have practiced, the better for the society. If it happens in Rivers State today, if such anarchy can happen in Rivers State today, it may well happen in another state tomorrow, whereby I become a president of Nigeria. I do not like the face of the man who has been elected. I would get some masquerades to play, damage some doors at the government house. The next morning, state of emergency is created, removing Ajulu from the seat and making sure that members of House of Assembly are not permitted to continue their legislative function of representing the people who elected them. So it's an ugly trend. It's a breach of the Constitution. It's a breach of the people's expectation and will and aspiration. The aspiration of the average people is to be governed by their own choice of persons, not by an administrator who they do not know, who is not their kin and kith. Because the law...
If the administrator were to be somebody from River State, would that have solved anything?
It doesn't solve anything, because he was there when they elected their choice. Even in a family of 5, if they stand the election, 5 of them cannot win the same election. Some people will choose Ajulu above others, or some people will not say Ajulu is good enough and all that. So you see that kind of thing. The scenario is that you have breached the ground norm. You have breached the tableau, just like what our Lord God gave the children of Israel, the tablets, the 10 commandments that govern them. Somebody breaks it, or breaks a chunk of it, removes some alphabets from it, so that it's no longer readable in such a way that there will be a holistic understanding of it. So that is what they have tried to do. By hatching on, there's a constitution.
And the provision in the constitution.
This emergency declaration is a harmonious process. It's supposed to be a discussion between the governor and the president that is no longer finding it funny that these matters now need emergency intervention. What can be done? He may put it in writing and send to the president.
He may equally invite him.
The governor may actually take a trip to see him, because it is an emergency. And the doors of the Asura could be open to him, because he has come with emergency matters. And he will discuss it with the president. And the president will now say, okay, what do we do? He will now ask people to bring up the proclamations. The proclamations are the things that will atomize the powers that will be exercised by him acting under the proclamation and not deviating from the powers given under the Constitution to the governor or the House of Assembly. Just those extrajudicial powers that are not given in the Constitution that will be covered in the Proclamation Act. Maybe a curfew, maybe when you sleep, where beer parlors will open, where they should shut down. So such things, where children can go to school, you can curtail because of emergency thing. You can say that children can now go to school from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Those kind of small adjustments.
So, but if you maneuver all of these issues that should have necessitated the president to declare a state of emergency in case of war, like Barrister said, and some other things. But now, if all those things were not part of, what of the political manipulation, or will I say the political maneuvering of securing Rivers State for the incumbent political party that we have in Nigeria? Could that be another angle that probably necessitated the president to make this declaration, even though it might not be constitutional?
If you read the whole tableau, let me just link in it to what God gave to Moses. If you read all those stuff, you will just see that there was partisanship. Wike was not even in the book. Wike was not even mentioned in a line or an item of discourse. All the blames, the Fubara did not do this, Fubara failed to do this, Fubara did not welcome me, Fubara did not rebuild the House of Assembly he destroyed, Fubara did not obey the Supreme Court, Fubara did not, Fubara who signed the pact to, with Wike did not obey the pact that he signed. He found out that it was prejudiced. The program has been written, just like when we used to solve maths. They'll tell you, solve from first principles. The answer is not the problem. Just tell us that you know this mathematics by working it out. A is equal to B, when B is equal to B and all that. So they have worked it out. The result is what we are seeing. It's all been worked out. And who is the administrator? He's been clamored and known, and photographs of him jollificating with Wike has all filled the tableau everywhere and all that. So it is a celebration day for them. And they can go to north, they can go to the extreme part of the earth.
All right, now, you know, when we talk about this issue, you know, I remember while he was talking, he talked about the governor, the deputy governor, the House of Assembly members, and these are people that brought them to be here, do this for us, work for us, as the case may be. Now, what do you think this declaration and the suspension, what do you think are the effects, you know, on the people of Rivers State and, of course, the great people that came together and said these people should represent us?
Yes, Mr. President did not take the interest of the Rivers State at heart. If you are taking the interest of the Riverians, okay, he wouldn't have made such particular declaration. You see, though that is, as we say, that is illegal and it's found to be illegal, okay, removing the governor. That's what we're talking about, removing the governor. Let me just tell you, okay, when during the time of President Buhari, who is even a retired general, okay, we expect them to even invoking this particular section arbitrarily. But all the happenstances in Nigeria, you didn't see him as a retired general, okay, even invoke such. Then a civilian who's supposed to be even more mild to the constitution, and I'm taking it what you call ultra vires. Let me just let you know, okay, who remember in 1992, what happened in 1992? We have a military president, that is Babangida, being at the center as the president. Then we now have civilian governors at the sub-nationals, that is them. Timbu is bringing the reverse, is the case, okay? Having a civilian president and having military in sub-national. That's what you're trying to do.
This young man is retired, please.
Administrator. No, I said what administrator, that is what it is. He's a military man. Okay, what can you appoint another person that is not a military man? Now, let me just tell you, all the government house offices in River State is under sale and with heavy armament there now. And the word of the governor is unknown. As for I'm talking to you now. Okay, nobody knows where he is. You see, I'm telling you that, as Magri has said, it's a program card already. You see, you try this one, it failed. Try this one, it failed. The House of Assembly won the Supreme Court pronounced that they should resume the legislative duties. The first thing they now put is that letter to the governor that he already do what they call constitutional breach and he has to be impeached. First thing you do, not even to go to the budget, they said that you should represent so they can be able to work out for the betterment of the Riveria. What is your intention is to remove this man, and that has not started from day one. You see, now as Madeleine Kouri has said here, you decamp, which is very, very obvious. You will now sit in media, you write it down, you put everything down. The court is about to make the pronouncement. And they're going to be indicted. Now, this is a way to shove off, okay, what the court would have said. You know that the law is also what court says. You see? Now, if the River State, the Riverians now that are in the place, everybody is calm. People are under siege because they can't come out. We come out, you see military armament. You go back to your house. People that are supposed to go to their normal business of the day. The president did not take the national interest at heart. What he took at heart is for him to achieve with his own Master, I don't know whether Wike is the president now, or Tinubu is the president, or even the president, because he could not mention Wike in all these things that have been happening, and he was the person that is engineering all these issues in Rivers State. So there is no ground that call for you to remove. You cannot even remove. Not even. Let me just tell us to understand this, please. What underline this? There's no constitutional provision that give the president power to remove elected governor. No constitutional provision. You can declare emergency, as my colleague has said here. Maybe there will be coffee, there will be this, there's some restriction in some areas or whatever. So you can able to have a palliative measure, okay, to harness that particular situation. They're not interested in what the Rivers area will fear, but rather they are interested in how to achieve their own, what call it, mandate. Look at what is happening now. As Noy has asked, people that are going to school this morning, they are under fear. Because what has been presence of military everywhere. Adro was telling me that it is a solar administrator. If it is retired, why do you bring military? Why can't you be there and have other people to take over? So all this thing is coming back, reversing what Bangida did. Military in the center, civilian in the subnational. Now it is civilian in the center, military in the subnational.
Barrister Ikemezi, we are not practicing diarchy as we speak in Nigeria. I think we
all know. What is today? What's happening now?
That's not diarchy yet.
No, but somebody is there.
Somebody is there, but he's retired. But then this discussion definitely won't. This is not the end of it, because we believe that events will unfold even after the president.
As time goes on,
and then we believe that with time we definitely get make sure that our democracy is not in any way threatened. That is most important, because if this is not put in check, you just can imagine what will happen to your governor tomorrow, and then you will begin to hear state of emergency declared in your own state. Well, we want to use this opportunity to thank our guest this morning, talking about Barrister Ikemezi, for being here this morning to talk about this. Coming under short notice, we thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure having you around.
Thank you, actually. Mr. President, please declare state of emergency in health, in electricity tariff, in fuel, and all this. We are going to declare state of emergency, not in other elected governments.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Chris Arukwe, for being here this morning. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
And that's...
We all wish that the people who are concerned, the Attorney General of Rivers State, should be able to take the matter up.
All right. And that's just about it on our discussion segment for now. Would like to thank you so much for watching. My name is Nonye Nwokoye.
And I'm Ajuchuku Okabo.